Hello world. We're going to do our very first C++ program, so I hope you have your IDE set up. I may make a video about that, but there's already a ton out there and it's pretty easy. So post some comments if you want to know what IDE I like to use or where you can go find it or anything like that. But I'm going to assume you have one, so we're going to go ahead and create our very first program. So I'm in code blocks here, so I'm going to create a new console application, and we'll call this first YouTube program. Super exciting project title, I know. Don't worry about any of those settings, they're all compiler settings. So we go over here, we open this first file. Depending on the IDE you have, you may have to create your first main file, but usually you'll get this. So you can see that it already fed me the basic program. So I'm going to go up here and click build and run so you can see what it does, and then we'll go over it. But you can see it just puts out hello world on the screen. So let's go over the parts of this program, and then we'll alter it ourselves. So this right here, if I can highlight it. Oh, I've already messed it up. Try that again. This is called a preprocessor directive. And so if you can't guess, it's including this file. It's called IOStream. That's the class that holds, or the library that holds all of the input-output commands. So this is a preprocessor directive. And you can see here, this is grayed out because I put 2 forward slashes in front of it, and so that makes it a comment. So I'm going to go up here and title this as a standard programming practice. Say first output program, let's say. And we'll say it displays text. So here, this is called using a directive. So this is using namespace standard. So IOStream is what's called a class, and then there are objects that live inside these classes, or instances of these classes. And the namespace, it tells us which library we're using. But for now, you'll see this a lot, and I'm going to go over this in just a little bit. But here's kind of the big meat and potatoes of this video. Every single C++ program ever has a main function. If it's only got one function, then it's this main function here. It always has one. This is where your program comes to start and executes it from there. So you need one of these. And just to do the easy one, this return 0 here at the very end, it spits back 0 as a return value, and it tells the computer that the program exited successfully. So see out here, if you can't guess, this is what displayed something on the screen. So it just says take whatever this is, and in this case, because we're using the standard namespace, send it to the standard output, which is the monitor, and then you see you have hello world here, and this is called the stream insertion operator. So this says whatever's on the right side of this, feed it into whatever on the left side. So we have a string of text here, and it feeds it to cout, which then sends it to the monitor. And this endl here is actually not necessarily necessary, but what it does is send this to the next line. So if we had some more text here that said, I don't know, goodbye world, then this would appear on the next line as opposed to the same line. I'll show you the difference here. So you can see they're on 2 different lines now. And if I get rid of this endl, and I run it again, we're on the same line now. So go ahead and redo this here. And now you'll notice this last thing here is the semicolon. This ends almost every statement in C++. You don't use it for, say, function declarations or preprocessor directives, but almost everything else gets concluded with a semicolon. So just get used to putting those on, because 90% of your errors will come from leaving semicolons off, I promise you. So I told you I was going to show you a different way to do this, so we're just going to head and comment this out. Here's another way of making comments. And see, you can now see that it's all grayed out. So I am just going to copy this for now and bring it down here. So the IDE is now going to ignore all this, but I'm going to get rid of this. And now I'm going to try and run it, and you'll see it doesn't work. If you see down here, cout was not declared in the scope, it means it doesn't know what it is. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and do this. And this says we're getting cout in the standard library. So even though we've included this IOStream file, we still need to go get the library for this. So now if we run it, there we go. It just says hello world. So these are called scope resolution operators, and this says this thing is coming from this thing, essentially. And the difference here is this is declared globally, so you see I don't have to do it. But this is kind of abusing this a little bit and can be dangerous and kind of defeats the point, because a lot of times in more complicated programs, you won't be using the standard namespace for everything, so you need to be careful about that. But we're going to do this one more way now, so you can kind of see all the different ways we might get around this. So I'll copy this again, and now what I'm going to do is say using, instead of using the standard namespace, using std_cout, and then, oh, there should be 2 colons there, and then using std and L. And now if we run this, see we get the same thing. So this is called declaring by directive. This is using it globally, and you can see this just does it for each command. So it says if I'm using cout, go ahead and get that from the standard library, but it depends what way is going to be best, and usually you'll have a project manager that tells you, and we'll go over more about what a namespace is and everything later, but I did make this little diagram up real quick that says, we have cout here, which is an object of this IOStream class, and all of that sits in the standard library. So we need the standard library to go ahead and execute anything in here. So that is the last thing I want to cover. I hope you guys enjoyed this first tutorial. Leave me some comments. I'm kind of new at this. And I hope you enjoy it, and see you in my next one. Bye.